Let's talk about the next factor, which is the global forces. Global forces are outcomes of changes in international relationships, changes in the nation's economic, political, and legal systems, for example. As you know, there are many free trade agreements in our world today. For example, there's the Australia-US Free Trade Agreement. We've got free trade agreements with the EU. Australia has got free trade agreements with ASEAN. Falling trade barriers have created enormous opportunities for organizations in one country to sell goods to another country. So, for example, if Australia has a free trade agreement with Indonesia, for example, Indonesia could sell goods manufactured in Indonesia in Australia. Now, the flip side to this is that foreign companies now have opportunities to sell their goods in Australia. Foreign companies can compete with Australian organizations in terms of going after the Australian consumer's dollar. What's the impact of this? Well, obviously this makes life more difficult for Australian firms. Why? Because now they've got to be more competitive. They've got to compete with firms in Indonesia, for example. And as you know, the labor cost in Indonesia is very much lower than Australia. And if you look at this picture on the slide, you see former Prime Minister John Howard. I don't think he'll be happy because he wants to protect local Australian industries, and he doesn't want to trade Australia away. Again, that's a joke, alright guys? And it's a fake dollar, by the way, it's not real. And it's not examinable, so don't worry. Time for a multiple choice question. Which of the following set of factors or forces best describes the composition of the general environment? Is it A, supplier, buyer, economic, legal, and competitor? B, supplier, buyer, technological, sociocultural, employee, and customer? C, any other factor, not including managers themselves? Or D, the economic, technological, sociocultural, demographic, political, legal, and global? Correct answer to this question is D. Right, let's have a true or false question now. Question: demographic and technological are both elements of the organization's general environment. True or false? Correct answer: true. Question: an organization that has many unrelated customers usually will be in a low bargaining position. True or false? Correct answer for this question is false. Let's look at organizational culture. Well, organizational culture is a set of values, norms, standards for behavior and shared expectations that influence the ways in which individuals, groups, and teams interact with each other and cooperate to achieve organizational goals. Organizational culture is important because it makes management possible in situations where managers cannot be constantly supervising employees. For example, managers cannot be everywhere at the same time. Organizational culture is also important because it provides employees with values and norms to adopt. How to behave. Organizations that have a strong organizational culture have employees that are more committed. Such employees go beyond their call of duty to help their organization, and this benefits the organization. So having a strong organizational culture makes good business sense. Now, organizational culture is transmitted to employees in a number of ways. This can be through the values of the founder, through the process of socialization, ceremonies and rites, stories and language. Let's talk about the values of the founder. Often an organization's founder sets the scene for the way cultural values and norms develop. So looking at Google, for example, well, it's fair to say that Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the two blokes down there on the slide, the founders of Google, well, you could say that these two individuals are both creative and dynamic, just like the organization they created. Socialization. Well, socialization is the process by which newcomers learn an organization's values and norms. For example, if you work, when you start a new job, you would have to go through a staff orientation day. Managers organize staff orientation or induction training programs to teach new employees about the organization's values and norms. Even at Curtin University organizes orientation days for students so that students can learn more about university life and what you should do to pass your exams. Passing your exams is very important for you guys. I've got very important tips for you now, so listen carefully. Have you heard about the university's Communications Skills Center? Well, the Communications Skills Center provides free assistance, yes, you heard correctly, free assistance to students who are having problems with their assignments. So if you're having problems or issues with your assignment, you don't know what to do, you can visit the Communication Skills Center. They'll look at your draft, what you've done so far, and they'll provide you with some feedback on how to improve your writing, how to improve your grammar, how to improve your overall assignment. And the feedback that I've got, those of the students who have visited the Com Skills Center, the Communication Skills Center, their marks have increased by about 10%. So do visit the Communication Skills Center, and I guarantee that you'll be looked after well. Let's go back to talk about ceremonies and rites. Managers also organize ceremonies and rites as another way to create organizational culture. For example, students who graduate from Curtin University can attend a graduation ceremony where your parents and friends can publicly recognize your efforts in studying for your degree. I'm sure many of you are looking forward to your big day. No, not your wedding day, but the day of your graduation ceremony. Stories and language also help communicate organizational culture. For example, I'm sure that you've spoken to other students about Management 100 and asked them what their tutors are like, how their workshops are organized. Well, your stories will form part of the culture here at Curtin University. On this note, I want to assure you that all workshops are fun, so please continue to attend your workshops. We've now come to the end of this ilecture. I hope you found it useful. Do keep up with your readings and please attend your workshops. Bye for now.